He said to leave this place and do not return, but we are not gonna leave, and we are going to return. I'm pretty sure.
Bill, good to see you. Listen, we've got a customs officer waiting to talk to everyone.
I hope you have something for us.
Absolutely. Passports and papers for everyone.
Ah, brilliant. So I'm what? A neurosurgeon now, am I?
You're a medical team from SUNY Upstate. Just back from Rome with your patient. Experimental gene therapy.
Good work. Let's get this over with.
Wait, look! This is crazy!
What's wrong?
I'm not sure, but Desmond's brain is lighting up like a string of firecrackers.
Okay. Oh no! Things are falling apart.
Here it comes. What is that? What's going on? This is the end, Desmond. Scheduled for deletion. What are you doing? What is a man but the sum of his memories? We are the stories we live, the tales we tell ourselves. Don't do this. I'm saving you, idiot! Go! Go!
Oh, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means.
I write these lines with a steady hand and a light heart. We are in Acre now, Sophia and I, with the 5 Masyaf keys in our possession, and all the time in the world. Sophia is a seasoned traveler and a fine companion to have so far from home. Tomorrow we will make our way to Masyaf, and once there, into Altair's library, to fulfill our father's forgotten dream. Forgive the shortness of this letter, dear sister, for it is late, and we are tired. Perhaps, with luck, the next words you hear from me will be in person. Con affetto, Ezio.
Alright, so Animus Island just disintegrated and got deleted. But it doesn't really explain what any of that means. Oh look, it's Masyaf again. The castle is still standing. A strange mix of Gothic, Romanesque, and late medieval and weird turrets. Ezio and Sophia have arrived at Masyaf after many weeks of travel. Time to open the library, okay.
This way! Such a climb.
It's also snowing, maybe you should wear more clothes.
È così bello qui. This is where your order began?
It began thousands of years ago, but here it was reborn.
By the man you mentioned, Altair?
Altair ibn La'ahad. He built us up and set us free. He saw the folly of keeping a castle like this. It had become a symbol of arrogance and a beacon for all our enemies.
And the mandate for menacing hoods? Was that his idea as well? You mentioned a creed before. What is it?
Nothing is true. Everything is permitted.
That is rather cynical.
It would be if it were doctrine, but it is merely an observation of the nature of reality. To say that nothing is true is to realize that the foundations of society are fragile, and that we must be the shepherds of our own civilization. To say that everything is permitted is to understand that we are the architects of our actions, and that we must live with their consequences, whether glorious or tragic.
Do you regret your decision to live as an assassin for so long?
There's a hole in the wall and a staircase, okay.
I do not remember making that decision. This life, it chose me. For 3 decades, I have served the memory of my father and my brothers, and fought for those who have suffered the pain of injustice. I do not regret those years, but it is time to live for myself, and let them go. Let go.
Wait, 3 decades? He's only in his 40s? Really?
The end of the road.
His beard is white, almost. Well, we can say that Ezio did not age gracefully. Well, his mask is gone, never mind. Alright, let's do this.
What do you hope to find behind that door?
Knowledge, above all else.
Altair
was a profound man and a prolific writer. He built this place as a repository for all his wisdom. He saw many things in his life and learned many secrets, both troubling and strange. Knowledge that would drive lesser men to despair.
Does that worry you?
Sophia, you should know by now that I am not a lesser man.
So,
Ezio.
I don't really know what this F1 forget hint. I don't know how to get it. Oh, we have to match one of these, I see. I think that it has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess this means it's this one. Yeah, okay. Okay, there's 5. And oh, maybe that's that, isn't it? Yeah, it is. And then the third, and then that, or the other way round. Okay, that's not too difficult.
You had better come out of there alive.
I plan to.
Explore Altair's library. Yes, let's light these up. Let's not walk around in the dark. This is the library. It's also circular, so everything focuses into the middle of the space. Can I light this up? I can't light the candles? Okay, never mind. What does that little square symbol mean in the middle? I don't know. Huh.
No books. No wisdom. Just you, fratello mio. Requiescat in pace, Altair.
Skeletons generally don't stay together.
You have seen to my books.
Yes. Some we sent with the Polos. The rest will go with me to Alexandria.
Good. Very good.
Father, I do not understand. Why did you build a library if you did not intend to keep your books?
You should go. When the Mongols return, Masyaf must be empty.
I see. This is not a library at all. It is a vault.
It must stay hidden, Darim. Far from eager hands. At least until it has passed on the secret it contains.
What secret?
Go, son. Go be with your family. And live well.
All that is good in me began with you, Father.
Alright. Yeah, so it's your sinews and your tendons and muscles that...
Much wisdom is much grief,
Oh, never mind.
and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow.
What does it tell you? What do you see?
Strange visions and messages of ones who came before, of their rise and their fall.
But what happens to us, Altair? To our family? What does the apple say?
Who were the ones who came before? What brought them here? How long ago?
Get rid of that thing!
Yeah.
This is my duty, Maria. Maria? Where? If you are asked, say I sent the apple away. Tell them I sent it to Cyprus or Cipango, or that I dropped it into the sea. Tell them anything to keep men away from this place. This apple must not be found. Not until the time is right.
Yeah, so your tendons hold your bones together. Without your tendons, your bones just fall apart into pieces. So a skeleton sitting in a seat is not really something you would find. Find Altair's Apple of Eden. Alright, well, it's right here.
Another artifact. No. You will stay here. I have seen enough for one life. Desmond?
He's talking to me.
I heard your name once before, Desmond. A long time ago. And now it lingers in my mind, like an image from an old dream. I do not know where you are, or by what means you can hear me. But I know you are listening. I have lived my life as best I could, not knowing its purpose, but drawn forward like a moth to a distant moon. And here at last, I discover a strange truth. I am only a conduit for a message that eludes my understanding. Who are we, who have been so blessed, to share our stories like this? Speak across centuries. Maybe you will answer all the questions I have asked. Maybe you will be the one to make all this suffering worth something in the end. Now, listen.
Listen what? Listen what?
Do you hear me, Cypher? Can you see me? Ah, there you are. Good. A strange place, this nexus of time. I am not used to the calculations. That has always been Minerva's domain. I see you still have many questions. Who were we? What became of us? What do we desire of you? You will have your answers. Only listen, and I will tell you how. Both before the end and after, we sought to save the world. We built vaults within which to work, each dedicated to a different method of salvation. They were placed underground to avoid the war which raged above, and also as a precaution should we fail in our efforts. Each vault's knowledge was transmitted to a single place.
To New York? Really?
It was our duty, mine, Minerva's, and Juno's, to sort and sample all that was collected. We chose those solutions which held the most promise and devoted ourselves to testing their merits. 6 we tried in succession, each more encouraging than the last, but none worked. And then the world ended.
Ooh. And then the sun exploded and everybody died. Check it out. Explosions. This is not all that plausible. Look, if dinosaur bones can survive several million years, a city like this would leave traces. So, this is not plausible. Anyway. I thought there were never very many of them. And that was the problem. Why is there a massive city?
The earth shook for days, the fires burned for weeks, and when the ash had settled, less than 10,000 of your kind still lived, and far fewer of ours. But we carried on, together, to rebuild, to renew. Listen, you must go there, to the place where we labored and lost. Take my words, pass them from your head into your hands. That is how you will open the way. But be warned, much still remains in flux, and I do not know how things will end, either in my time or yours.
Wait, look, his vitals are stabilizing. Something's happening. He's moving.
Desmond, can you hear me? Son?
I know what we need to do.
Oh, do you now? And then nothing else. So the game is called Assassin's Creed Revelations. Doesn't actually reveal all that much. Mostly it sets up for the next game. So, you know, more sequels. It's gonna churn out a new game every few years. So that's the game, but we're not done yet. Not even close. We are gonna look at architecture. We are gonna go back to Constantinople and we're gonna look at all the mosques and all the churches and all the aqueducts and all the palaces and all the other buildings. Because architecture, yes. Do I want to skip this? Can I skip this? I don't know if I should skip this or not. Okay, let's just watch this. Actually, it might be quite long, the credits. Yeah, the game's alright. As I said, it was the first Assassin's... It still is. It's the only Assassin's Creed game so far that I've actually completed 100% and picked up all the loot. And only because they put the loot into the maps in the game, so you can do that quite easily. Every other game I haven't actually picked up all the secret items. And I thought this was the best one, but in hindsight, a lot of the quests are quite messy. And the story is not all that coherent. If you think about it, the characters aren't all that compelling. There's a lot of game mechanics, so as the series progresses, they just accumulate more and more new mechanics. It's getting more and more complicated. Which one was better? Was Assassin's Creed 2 better, or was Assassin's Creed Brotherhood better? Yeah, I guess Revelations was not quite as good as the other ones. In terms of mechanics, it is better. In terms of story, not so much. Alright, here we go. We're going to reconstruct... Wait a minute, why are we reconstructing the island? We just destroyed it, and we just killed Subject 16. And now we're reconstructing? Alright, well the island's back. If you want to go back and hang out, we can. This is supposed to be a test world, but they went to the trouble of making water physics. I don't really have much to say. I am going to continue on with Assassin's Creed 3, and then I don't know how the series progresses. Is it... Assassin's Creed Liberation is a separate game, isn't it? It's like a separate thing. I guess I'll do Assassin's Creed 3 and then Liberation, and then is it 4 afterwards? I don't know, I lost track. They just put out these games every few years and I lost track of which one we're up to. Apparently Assassin's Creed 3 is not very good. Like, the characters are not very compelling. Nowhere near as compelling as Ezio and Desmond. But we'll play it, not for the characters, but hopefully for the architecture. Apparently there's not as much architecture, especially Black Flag. I think it's all just pirates and boats. I don't know if there's going to be too much architecture to look at. Although it'll be interesting to see the new colonies in the new world in the Americas, because the architectural style will be different, and we can probably learn by comparing between the styles. You'll notice that there's a lot of stone architecture in Italy and in Constantinople. I don't know how accurate that is historically. See, the thing about architecture is that stone can easily last several thousand years. And even though they fall over, like the Greek temples, they've all fallen over because of earthquakes. But because they're stone, you can just kind of put them back together again. So you see a lot of these Greek temples, and they're standing. They've actually been kind of reassembled after they've fallen over a few times. But anyway, so the marble and the stone, they survive thousands of years. But most buildings are actually timber. Like, we build out of wood a lot. The problem with wood is that they don't last very long. You'd be lucky to have a wooden building last over 100 years, and it takes a lot of maintenance to keep a wooden building intact. And so actually, a lot of historical buildings would have been wood, but we don't have any remains of them because all the wood has rotted away and decomposed. And so when you look at architectural, archaeological remains of cities, you see kind of stone buildings and palaces and stuff, and you think, okay, well, the city was a stone city. It's not actually true. It's not necessarily true. There might have been a lot of wooden buildings as well that just don't survive. Although in some parts of the world, they really would be stone buildings because there aren't enough trees. Especially in older areas and maybe like desert areas. So around the Mediterranean, there's actually not many trees left. There used to be more trees, but they cut them down to build houses, they cut them down to build boats. And over the centuries, there's just kind of less and less trees. And so these days, there's not many trees left around the Mediterranean. So, as they run out of trees, they would have to build their houses out of stone, right? Because they don't have wood anymore. So, some parts of the world have better archaeological remains than others because of the fact that there weren't enough trees to build houses out of them, and so they had to use stone. And in other parts of the world where they use a lot of timber buildings, like in Northern Europe, for example, not much survives. Like there aren't that many remains. And so when you kind of look at the remains, you think to yourself, well, maybe, okay, there are cities in Italy, there were cities in Greece, maybe there weren't any cities in Northern Europe. We're not sure about that. Maybe there were, but they were just timber and then they didn't survive. So yeah, it's not always entirely clear just how big the cities were, because not everything survives to the same extent. Yeah, like if you look at kind of books about architecture history, and you look at ancient cities, and they're all stone, right? And that's why. That's why, because if they were ancient cities built in wood, you wouldn't know about it because they're gone. All right, so the credits are still going. It's a bit problematic too. Like the ecological damage. I'm thinking about the forests that used to be in Greece and now they're gone. Like there's history books about that. They literally chopped down all the trees to build warships and to build other things. And eventually they had to start importing wood from other parts of Europe. So you look at the places now, yeah, and you think, wait a minute, how did civilization manage to start? Or how did these Greek city-states and the Roman Empire manage to be so prosperous? And the places that you go to, these countries, they're really dry, really barren, and it's how on earth would people live here? But that's only because they've been there for so long that they've kind of destroyed the ecology over the years through just harvesting over and over again the resources until they're all gone. And I don't know if you know, but North Africa used to be farms. Like the Roman Empire used to import grain from North Africa to supply Rome. But you go to North Africa now and it's deserts. And again, it's because, you know, like they turned the place into farms, and I think they were like civil wars, and they were, I think as the Roman Empire fell, the farms were neglected, and then there was erosion, and all the soil was eroded away, and then it turned into deserts. So it didn't turn back into forests, it turned back into deserts. And so, you know, the North Africa apparently used to be quite fertile. And that's where Carthage was, right? That's where the Carthaginian Empire was. And that's all gone. And you look at it now and you think, well, how could people have lived here? How could this be like a major empire? And it's because it wasn't like that all the time. It used to be quite fertile. You could grow a lot of crops there, and now you can't. Not everything is our fault, though. Some things are natural. You know, ecological changes, I mean. But we change the environment a lot more quickly than nature does. Like, our ability to chop down a forest is much more effective than any other life form is capable of. So we can destroy the planet much more quickly than the planet can destroy itself. That's the problem for us, really, is how quickly we do things. The credits are still going. I'm kind of wondering whether there's gonna be like a scene at the end of the credits. I don't think there is. I'm interested to play Assassin's Creed 3, actually. I've never played it before. I think I'll do it blind. So up till now, these have not been blind playthroughs. Assassin's Creed 1 was. These haven't. So I'm interested in playing the Assassin's Creed 3 onwards. Partly to see how the story progresses, although I'm getting quite sick of the way every story is a setup for a sequel. Literally, they just kind of tell you a few things and then deliberately set it up so that they have a story to tell in the next game. And it gets a bit old, because it feels like we play through all of that and still we don't know anything. We still haven't resolved anything. That's a bit annoying. But we're not playing this for the story, really. A little bit. Mostly I'm playing this for the architecture. Yes, architecture. It is quite good how they've just recreated these historic cities and you can climb all over them. It's quite good. They're not perfect copies, of course, but they're good enough, you know, for you to get a good feel for how the city is. Conceivably, they can be real architectural tools. But it doesn't seem like Ubisoft has ever released the game engine. Like the Assassin's Creed engine, it seems like they've only used it for Assassin's Creed. It's not like Unreal or what's Valve's one? Source. It's not like some of these other game engines where they would release or they would license, at least, the game engines so that other people can do stuff with it. I think the Assassin's Creed engine is only used for Assassin's Creed. And so I'm thinking, well, if they just kind of create more cities in this game engine, they could be real interesting educational tools. But they're not doing that. They're not releasing the game engine for anyone else to use. Which is a bit of a shame. I guess you don't really need... I guess you could do similar things in other game engines. It's just that of all the games I've played that involve, you know, this sort of free running through cities. It feels like the Assassin's Creed engine is the best. I mean, what other engines are there for making large cities? There's Grand Theft Auto. I haven't played Grand Theft Auto 5, so I don't know if the latest version is a significant improvement. Yeah, no, this engine's really good, the game engine. The credits are still going. Man, they have so many people working on this. I wonder how much of this is necessary and how much of this is bloat. I mean, I don't mean to insult anyone. I don't mean to insult anybody working on the game. But it's always a thing you have to kind of keep in mind, don't you? As your team gets bigger and bigger and bigger, is it still as efficient? Like, how many of these people... Like, look, DNA, look at that. DNA, they have specific people working on the DNA part. Like all these kind of management people all around the world, in France, Bucharest. Like, how much of this is productive and how much of this is bloat? I'm not sure. Like, could a team half the size make a similar game, a comparable game, in the same time? I don't know. Can they? Maybe not. Maybe they do need everybody. Online business coordination manager. Like, what does that even mean? What does that person do? Web applications project managers. Like, why? Like, do we need web apps? Do we need Uplay? Like, why don't we just focus on the main game? Why do we need a web apps manager? What is that? Web apps? Web apps. Head of consumer and market knowledge. Like, you see, like, one of these people. Like, do we really need this? Do we really? World licensing manager? World licensing manager. I don't know. Do they contribute to a better game? Do they contribute to a more profitable game? I honestly don't know. Maybe they probably do. I mean, they're on the team, but it's a lot of people. There's a lot of people working on this game. EMEA B2B sales and partnership team. What is that? What is that? What does it even mean? Brand director, brand manager, associate brand manager. How many people do you have managing the brand? Promotions specialist? Do you really need to promote Assassin's Creed? Like, how much promoting do you... Assassin's Creed? Alright, we're down to special thanks, so I think we're almost done. Come on, we're scrolling through all this. I'm putting all of this on video, so you know I'm respecting everybody who's worked on this game. But I'm just not sure about this. I'm just not sure if all these people are actually making the game better. I think some of them are just managing marketing and stuff like that. Bing Video? It seems like everybody uses Bing Video. Alright, get the images, alright, come on. They use Hammock for physics. Malmo Symphony Orchestra. The music is quite good, guys. And done. Alright, well that's the credits. And I'm gonna take a break from recording here, but we will come back. And when we come back, we are jumping straight back into Constantinople, and we are going to look at architecture and read Wikipedia, because reading and learning is... I'm not gonna say that, it's not fun. But it's interesting. The reason you read is because it's better to be smart than to be dumb. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video.